Well, we're at the site of the old stagecoach stop. It's on a 1952 BLM map, and we've been here years ago and the walls were all falling down, and this stagecoach stop was from 1873 to 1876 when they had the Panamint City Surprise Canyon stuff going on. Panamint City was a silver mining camp over here. They had about 2,000 people, and this is the stagecoach stop going up Surprise Canyon. Now this stagecoach stop, it was a very important place because they took the horses that did all this long across the desert travel over the top of the Slate Range to here, and from here they changed the horses out and had a fresh team of horses to go up Surprise Canyon. Now the road going up Surprise Canyon was so steep when they were coming back down. They had those little leather brakes. Well, those aren't going to do anything. They had to put 4 horses behind the stagecoach and 2 in front to come back down. They had to have the horses behind for hold back, and that's how they brought the stagecoach back down. Now, they also had a stagecoach road that ran straight across from here, straight across the valley over here, up Shepherd Canyon, over to Darwin, which was the next boom mining town, and it was silver over there also. So we're going to take a little trip up to the toll booth. The road up Surprise Canyon over there to Panamint City, there was 6 guys led by Bart McGee, and they decided since they needed a road to get up there, because you couldn't get up there unless you had a horse, and the horse was questionable getting over the waterfalls. So these guys, 6 townspeople led by Bart McGee, built the road, and they decided they'd start charging a toll. We're going to go to the toll booth and see that. And it's not on any map. So come on, let's go. We're standing on the old wagon road. The old toll road booth is just ahead right here. And this wagon road here is from the 1870s. Now there was actually 6 townspeople led by Bart McGee in 1873 that decided that, you know, if we have to have a town up in this canyon, we really have to have a road up here. And since these guys were going to build the road with pick and shovel, that they were going to get able to charge a toll for it. So they were going to charge a toll to use their road that they built up there. And after 6 months in service, the Surprise Valley Mill and Mining Company and Water Company, they owned everything in town, bought the road from them so everybody can come into Panamint City free. But this was the old toll booth stop here. And we'll walk over here and take a little look at all the artifacts that are laying on the ground and look at the inside of what it used to be. Well, this is the old toll booth right here. This is the old wagon road right here. You can clearly see the ruts. This is from 1873. And this is the old toll booth right here. This is the entrance to it. It was like an underground dugout. And they had a canvas roof. And they just had a couple pieces of wood that held up the roof. They had plenty of room in here for a couple guys to stay and everything. And while they were waiting for people to come by to collect a toll from, the old Spanish Arrasta right across the road over here. It's actually a Concord wagon axle sticking out of the ground, and you can still see where the mule used to walk, pulling the load around, which was usually a big rock with a chain attached to it to drag it. And that's what they used to use to crush ore, but they had to have water. Well, they had easy access to water now because they had their own road. They didn't have to charge themselves to use their own road, so they would get up right in the canyon mouth up there. You have water. So they would get up there and get some water, bring it down here. You had to have water to use the Spanish Arrasta. You put water in it and then drag the stones around and throw the ore in there. As the ore gets crushed down, it's into a fine powder. They would take it out and separate the gold from the tailings in the bottom. They could either pan it out, or they could use amalgam, which was mercury, and it was more dangerous because you had to burn the mercury, and then you got vapors from the mercury, which would actually kill you in the long run. But that's what these guys were doing in their off time while they're waiting for people to come by to collect toll from. But this was in only operation for 6 months in 1873. Yeah, this is an old Concord wagon axle, and I guess it's a kind of a lightweight duty type because it narrows down over here and it kind of got bent. But this is the center point, the pivot point for the Spanish Arrasta that they had working here. And that's what these guys did on their off time while they're waiting for people. They could see people coming for miles. So most thing they had to do is to keep the burro moving around in a circle here. But we'll take a look at that real quick. All right, I'm walking in the path of the mule. He used to drag the ore. He used to drag the big stone behind him with a chain that would break down the pieces of ore. This is where he would walk right here. I don't know how they did it. If they usually had an inside part that had a separate part where that big rock went around, and the mule would just go around the pivot point right here. But it's been so built up over the years here, but this is still clearly visible. So I don't know exactly how this was built. They might have had something wooden above that to retain the water, because water was so precious here. There was a couple of instances where guys would buy guys water after they washed their face so they could use it on something else. Sometimes water was precious out here in the desert, but not at Panamint City. They had water at Panamint City. But we're talking Panamint City silver mining camp from the 1870s, and that's what this whole site was about. And that's what about it. This is part of an old ore dump truck. It was used in the mines up here from the late 40s, I believe, and it was a 3-cylinder diesel engine that was on it. Now this used to be, when we used to know where this was at the top of the Waterfalls. We're in Surprise Canyon right now. We were looking for this. And the last time we had seen it, it was at the bottom of the last waterfall. Down canyon from that about 300 feet. And now this is about probably half a mile from that site. And it's way down here, and we don't know where the other part. This is the hydraulic ram right here for the dump truck, for the dump bed. And this is the whole bed assembly, and the other part that was underneath it was the heavier part. So it's probably up the canyon a little bit farther. But how it got separated, who knows? Water's a powerful force. But the Jeepers used to use this as a winch point at the top of the waterfalls before they closed this off and made it Surprise Canyon Wilderness Area in 2000. So now, this used to be a winch point. Now it's down here. So let's kick up the trail up here and see if we can find some more pieces of this thing. Hi, we're on the site of the old Chris Wick camp, and this was later occupied by the Novaks. George Novak and his son Rocky, who is now the caretaker at Ballarat. They used to live here, and I think they first came here in the mid 60s. And this was their whole mining camp here, and this is actually a gold mill right here. So this is gold ore right here, and this, we're going to run you through the whole process right here. Here's the gold ore that they get out of the mine. They bring it down here, and what you're looking for, what the miners have told me what they're usually looking for, is bug-eaten quartz. Now usually quartz, that's what's gold and silver is going to be found in both. You got some ore here, there's a little bit of silver in here. Panamint City was silver, so you will have silver mixed in with gold here. And there is a lot of lead content in this ore too. But copper, lead, and silver. Panamint City, when they mined the silver up there, when they smelted it, the copper they got out of it paid for the silver smelting process. So the silver was basically free after they got, and that's after they shipped it all the way to England to get it smelted in 1874. So, but this is gold ore. With this gold ore, they'll run this ore into the rock crusher. This is a rock crusher, and it breaks it down into smaller pieces. And then there's a lot of pieces that are no longer here. People have carted off pieces of metal that were laying here. This place burned, and it was a whole disaster area. It was a BLM hazardous material cleanup, the whole thing. There was batteries and everything all over the place here. But they cleaned up a lot of the material that was here, and some of the chutes and everything that went from this, the rock crusher, over to this, that pulverized the stone into smaller pieces and got this type of stuff. This is all ore here. And then this went into the hopper here, went into this bin, and they had another machine here. I don't know what that exactly did. Probably another crusher of some sort. They might have had a stamp mill there. I don't know. But over there, they had this, you see the ingenuity, they installed a truck axle there, and that's what they would use to turn the cyanide mixture there. And then it would run off down here into their leach field. They have a concrete spillway there that runs down, and I don't know exactly how they did the whole thing, but they used to have a tray that ran out, and that's how they would get all the gold, the fine gold out of it. They had like a long tom they would run water through. Now Chris Wick's camp was so famous. When Chris Wick, the bartender from Ballarat, he lived here, and he would ride from here in his wagon to Ballarat and 10 bar all day long, and then if he was drunk enough, he'd either stay there or ride back home. And this is where he lived. In the summertime, he had a swimming pool right here. This is his swimming pool here. He has water in the canyon over here that flows year round. So this is his swimming pool over here, and year round it would flow and it would be full. So he would have water here all the time. So we're going to head up the canyon here to look at some of the waterfalls and see some of the history in this canyon. Hi, we're on the site of Chris Wick's camp, the former camp of Rocky and George Novak. Rocky is the current storekeeper, caretaker at Ballarat right now. His dad and him, George Novak, lived up here, I think from the mid-60s on, until this place burned down. I believe it was 10 years ago, so it was in I think 2007 is when this place burned, and there was all these vehicles down here, all burned out and everything. This was George Novak's house, and he was in the hospital when the place burned down, and he went to the Golden Hills a couple years after that, but he lived with Rocky in Ballarat until he passed away. But his is a monument to George Novak here. It's all made out of stainless steel with his famous cowboy hat on it. And it says George Novak, 1920 to 2010, tread lightly, I'm watching you. That's every time you would meet George down here on the road and you'd be parking your vehicle, he'd be telling you, he'd ask you what you're doing up here and why are you on my property type of thing, and this is my claim right here. He would let you know, this is my claim right here. This is my gold mining claim. Like, don't come up here. And he would always be telling people, I'm watching you. So now it's written on his monument here. But this is where he lived down here, him and his son Rocky, and they made moonshine and grew corn and were pretty self-sufficient up here. I think they were from Arkansas, I'm not sure. But we're going to head up the canyon here and see other mine workings that were part of this whole mill here and stuff. Part of their whole camp here still extends up the canyon. And then we're going to hike up to the waterfalls and see that. Happy trails. Oh, here we are. We're in the Surprise Canyon here, and this is the creek running down from the spring. And this is Panamint City silver right here. This is raw horn silver right here. I just cleaned it off in the stream. It'll stay bright and shining like that all day long. It's like raw silver. It's like from 85 to 94% pure silver right there. It's called horn silver. So it's significantly heavier. But this is what Panamint City was built on, was raw horn silver like this. This is what they were getting out of the mines up here in Panamint City. Why they built the road up this canyon in 1873. We also, there's a gold mill right over here, so there's gold in this stream. And as I bent down to pick this up, I picked up another little piece with a piece of gold in it right here. So there's a little flake of gold in this piece. So it's right here. All you have to do is look for it and know what you're looking for. We're going to head up the canyon now to the waterfalls, and we'll see you up there. We're right alongside the trail here, and we're looking at all kinds of stuff. And this is a natural gold trap right here. How there's a natural depression in the rock right here, and as the water's being pushed down, the gold is going to be heavier than all the other rock. The gold will settle down in this crack right here. So if you were a gold miner, you would want to clean out this crack right here. It has a lot of the other light stuff on top. This is like pyrite here. And there's a lot of smaller pieces of pyrite in this mix here that are on top of this stuff. But all the gold is going to be down on top of the rock because it's the heaviest material that's up here. So silver would be a little bit higher up, but you could also find silver ore in here too, but mostly gold ore. It's a natural gold trap right here. So if you're a gold miner, that's what you would be looking for. We'll head on up the trail here and get to the waterfalls and see that. Well, on the rocks here you can see black. This is the way the four-wheelers used to come up here before they closed the canyon in 2000, 18 years ago. But this is the way everybody used to come up the canyon. We used to come up here with the two-wheel drive motorcycles up over the rocks here and continue on up. This is the easy part. It gets much worse. Hi, we're in the stream right here, and you hear these frogs back here. They sound like it's a really big frog. They're only about this big, and they got this big old belly on them that's making all this noise. So we're going to try and find these little guys over here. If we can. It sounds like there's 2 or 3 of them. Well, we must have spooked them. I guess we'll have to try and catch them later on. Well, I guess I'd be scared too if I was being looked for by a guy like me. Well, this is what we came up looking for. This is the 2-cylinder air-cooled, I believe it was a dump truck that was used inside the mines. It is sitting upright. That's what that bed was, the yellow bed that we looked at farther down the canyon. It's at least half a mile down canyon from here. This is the rear wheels here. The front end of it, with the single wheel, it was 3-wheeled, is broken off. So this is what we came up here to find. This used to be at the top of the waterfalls, the 7th falls up here. We're going to walk up and get to the base of the 1st and 2nd falls, and that's probably as far as we're going to go today. But we're heading on up the trail now. But this is what we came looking for. The Jeepers used to use this as a winch point because it was so heavy with the other piece on top of it. It was up there for I don't know how many years, but I believe it was brought up here to Panamint City in the 40s. So it's a pretty old piece of machinery, and I have never seen another one like it. But it's for inside the mine, driving inside the mine with a dump truck. Heading on up the trail. This is the first waterfall, the base of the first waterfall. And you can look over here and you can see holes drilled in the side of the wall where they used to use the dynamite to blast the walkways into the road. Anyway, this is the first waterfall. We used to take the two-wheel drive motorcycles up right here. The Jeeps used to come up right here. There's 70 winch operations for a Jeep to make it up the waterfalls, and 70 to come back down the waterfalls. So this was the toughest thing to do on trails. The Rubicon Trail, this has Rubicon deep with all the winch operations you have to do. You have to bring lumber and everything else. We just went up here with the two-wheel drive bikes and went up and back in a day. And there was one miner that we talked to, and he said the last time he took his Jeep up here by himself, it took him 3.5 days of winching by himself to get it up the waterfalls. And while we were there, I think that was in '94, he rented a helicopter and had them pick his Jeep up with all the supplies and drop it off in Panamint City. So, but this was the old road. This is what these guys built the road over, and why they were charging a toll. So we're going to head up to, we're going to try and get up to the base of the second fall, and that's as far as we're going to go. So we'll head up there. Yes, sirree, human stupidity has no limits. We used to take a two-wheel drive motorcycle up this, up the stair steps, up the waterfall. Yeah, this is the second waterfall. So the Jeeps would also take the same route. You can see why they had the winch. It's all moss. It's all slicker and dog snot. But here we are inside of the Surprise Canyon. The walls are closing in over here. They get to a point where if you were in a wagon, you could almost touch the walls. There's a point where they're about 12 feet apart. So, but this is as far as we're going to go because of the sign. But we're going to head back down and we'll see you on those trails. There's noise.
This guy right there?
One of the little guys. That's how big they are. They got a big old belly. Here's another one. There's two of them. There's another one. There's another one. Maybe they're chasing each other here. Well, at least away from us. At least from this scary guy. But those little guys are making all that noise that we heard earlier.
Wow.
So there you go.
Wow.
All right.
How many frogs?
Well, that was a fun little trail trip we went on. We're heading back down, but since they had the Wilderness Protection Act in 1994 closed down most of the canyon. I think they closed the canyon down in 2000. In 1994 they had more land grab, and in 2000 is when they closed this canyon down. Now we have video above the falls to show you guys with us with the two-wheel drive motorcycles attacking the waterfalls, which are pretty dramatic if you look at it and go, why would somebody want to do this? Well, we did it. Anyway, hope you enjoy the show. We'll see you soon.
Here we go. We're not quite the waterfall yet. This is just a little piece right here. Got two slick tires. It's hard to go on this thing. We came up on Rokon two-wheel drive bikes with son Edward, Jim, and Lucky having a Rokon romp in Ballarat. Tomorrow we plan to attack Surprise Canyon and the waterfalls before they are officially closed. Jim came all the way from Idaho just for this abuse. Lucky came from Sacramento, and we all had a great time as usual at the Briggs cabin with the Rokon boys, Ed and Edward Czajka. This is the first confirmed fall right here. I can't see the Jeeps taking themselves up this, but We're going up the water right here, and it's slicker and snot. Usually the water's over there, wherever it's climbing. Now it's right where we're going, so it's going to be slicker and snot. Tag team all the way up here. There's the second confirmed fall. So we're just about ready. Well, here we are, all four Rokons in front of the house that we're staying at tonight, and that's the Panamint Valley Mill and Water Company mill right there. What's left of it, 1875. So here's the shack we're staying in tonight. Building we're staying in tonight. Here's the one we stayed in last time over there. It's not very good condition. Pretty well trash, but that's from the 20s. That dates from the 20s. And right behind us here, this is the old workshop for the mill, where they had all their supplies and equipment and everything else. We're directly across from the mill, and you got all these old house foundations right below us here. This must have been an apartment complex right below us here. I don't have any idea. It might have been the offices or something for the mill, you know, right across the road from it. You never know. But there's a whole bunch of different things over here. There's a big old stone thing over there. And what got our attention was this little, this big rock right here, and underneath it there's little rock walls built up in front of it. And they got all these, ooh, look, Indian scratchings on the wall. Yeah, there's the Star of David over there. Oh. I like the little...
Caveman.
Hey, caveman. Ooh, look, let's shut this place down, man.
Yeah.
The cavemen were here, man. Well, we're overlooking the site of Panamint from the new mill ruins over here. There's the old mill right there. And we're inside of this new mill here, the big green building. I've never been up here. And there's a double ball mill side by side here. We're standing on this grating that goes straight down. There's two ball mills here side by side. Just like, kind of like what they got over there at Pleasant Canyon. But these are the modern versions. I guess they're made in Salt Lake City. It says SLC on the side. So it's where your ore comes in on a conveyor belt on the top, and then I don't know how they distinguish what goes where, but there's the inside of it right there. There's the other one over there. And they got it all dumped down into this bin here. And I guess this is some type of agitator. Who knows? Know nothing about this thing, but and there's something else here.
Scoops up the water, moves the water through here, into here, pushes the water out here where the biscuit.
These are some type of a crusher too, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. Oh no, this doesn't look good. I don't think so. Okay, it's getting serious. Okay, I guess so. Okay. Hold on.
Well, I'm standing on the shaft of a stamp mill. This is the top part of the stamp mill I'm standing on. This is the part that the cam picked up. And the other part is all the way down over here. This is all overgrown. This is just laying here in the bushes. And this is the mill. It's right across from Chris Wick's camp. This is a gold mill. And I don't know exactly how they were using everything here, but this is a stamp right here to crush the ore. They had another ore crusher up on the bin there, and this cable right here goes all the way up the hill to the mine, which is right up there. It's not very far away. We used to have a cable tramway to get the ore down here and get into the top of this. So this is their gold mill over here. A lot of the stuff's been removed over the years, and it's steadily declining, but you can see where this foundation right here, they have a nice work area here. They got some nice steps to go down here, and they had more equipment bolted down the hill here, but it's all been removed. So, but there's several shafts up here on the side of the hill, and there's several more up the canyon. So he had quite a few little prospect holes out here, but most of this was gold down here, and silver was in Panamint City. So, well, we'll head on down the trail, and we'll catch you around the next bend.